It's the final round of the ILMC. Zhuhai, China, Peugeot front row, Audi second row, 1,000 kilometres or 6 hours. The ticking over that you can hear in the background was the interior noise of a Peugeot 908 HDI, and that's the most noise I've ever heard one of them make, Graham.
I've never heard that noise before. It does sound a little bit like a London taxi from this distance, John, but it's not going to be something like that for much longer as the car set off now on the green flag lap.
It's John Hindhaugh and Graham Goodwin, Graham from dailysportscar.com here in the UK, and we are very, very excited about the prospect of a small but perfectly formed field, and an interesting field of cars with no less than 7 classes. It's a long time since a Le Mans race or an ACO sanctioned race has had quite this many classes, albeit there of course are 2 classes with just 1 car, 3 classes with just 1 car in, absolutely, because there's the hybrid, which is the one I keep forgetting about. So the grid then, Montani will start with Bourdais as his wingman, if you like. Christensen and Capello be giving the starting duties as they qualified. Cocker, who qualified and will start. Mitsuyama in the local car. Then it's Jacques Nicolet, the only LMP2 runner. Further back, the Lamborghini Murcielago, the last car to be built by Lamborghini, rolled off the production line this week. The last Murcielago, that is. And look at that, 2 GT3 cars ahead of the whole of the GT2 field, and because of that, because of the speed shown by Alex Young and Danny Watts, a whopping 30 kilos slammed onto those cars, and we're hearing news from the track that Martin Ragginger may not be taking, in fact will not be taking the start for the car that he's due to be in.
Well, we saw Christian Reed aboard the number 88 car on the grid, John.
This is the Felbermeyer Proton on the team 88 car.
That's going to be bad news in terms of the pace that they can show. Ragginger very much the quicker of the 3, with Roda and Christian Reed. But very bad news indeed for the 88 car and the pace they require over the 1,000 kilometres. About 232 laps, we believe, 1,000 kilometres, when there's 4.32 kilometre track.
Yeah, and so that will leave Christian Reed and Gianluca Roda. Martin Ragginger ill and may not be able to start. Hoping that Ragginger will be all right. There's definitely Christian Reed in the car from the pictures that we have seen. And once again, that very odd noise from inside the Peugeot. Very odd indeed. As the sun has come out, it is coming on to midday at Zhuhai, 12 o'clock high. As high noon approaches, we're about to go racing for 1,000 kilometres. Quick prediction, Graham, obviously it'll be a diesel, he says, obviously, unless something horrible goes wrong. At the front of the field, is it Peugeot or is it Audi for the final big race of the season?
I think it's Peugeot. Last race, the 908, and I think Peugeot are going to take it.
And what about the GT categories as we get off racing? We'll come back to that in a moment, because the pole sitter Frank Montani is cleared off like a scattered cat, and he is, what, 15, 20, 25 cars lengths ahead as he turns into the first right-handed corner, and the clock begins to tick down from 6 hours. And Dindo Capello, I think, has got past. No, he hasn't. He's still sitting in behind Christensen. So it is Peugeot, Audi. Johnny Cocker just trying to hang on to the back of the Audis, which are uncharacteristically belching black smoke under acceleration. But Frank Montani caught his teammate and everyone else completely asleep there.
Absolutely flat-footed. One would hope it wasn't tactical on behalf of Peugeot holding the Audis back, but it did look as if the pole-sitting car just caught him absolutely flat, and he's well away. I'd say, what, second and a half, John?
On board with the second of the Audis for a moment there, as we were looking forward. Interesting to see that front right-hand wheel working in the wheel well, as it is the yellow Audi, the yellow topped Audi, if you like, the two speedster humps behind the driver's head, designating that that is the 7 car as they come through to complete the first lap. 2.1 seconds as they go across the line. That, if that was tactics, it was very good tactics indeed from Peugeot, who have blown any chance of Audi getting amongst them. Now we know how they don't like that, and normally it's Alan McNish, isn't it, who was giving the job of getting among the Audis and getting among the Peugeots rather, and worrying them at the start of the race. No chance to do that.
No chance to do that. If that was tactical, you'd have to wonder why they let them go. It's a big gap at the start of a long race. So we've got the Tokai Courage here being harassed by the Oak Racing Pescarolo. This is an LMP1 car with an LMP2 car right with it here. And
this is the battle for 6th position.
Indeed, based on the same tub, I believe, these two cars, of course.
Yeah, some time ago. Share a bit of DNA. Ignore the graphic on the screen there. This is for 6th positions, the Tokai car, the green and white 23 machine with the distinctively pink and matte black Oak Racing Pescarolo Judd behind.
Well, we've got, I gather, a very early pit stop, and it looks like it's a 77 Feldmeyer Proton Porsche Mark Lieb at the wheel of that car. Certainly this a car that we think certainly should have been right up there as the he's just left the pits with the lead car right behind him. We've just seen there.
Oh yeah,
as the leader actually has lapped Lieb.
So that can't have been anything other than an early problem. Try and pick up a report from Fabien a little bit later on. Meantime, in GT, looks like the CRS Racing Ferrari is leading from the BMW, the Schnitzer BMW, and it was a front left puncture for Mark Lieb. Front left puncture, we're hearing, that brought that Felbermeyer car into the pit lane early.
The car making biggest progress though in the early laps, John, is the Porsche Hybrid, up to 7th place overall, ahead now of both GT1 cars and the Formula Le Mans prototype. In the first couple of laps, that's Jörg Bergmeister starting that car, 7th overall for the 92 car.
Right, that must be 8th position overall, because they're missing the Tokai car off that timing and scoring screen.
Correct.
And that's why we're getting the problems I've just realised on the graphics as well. The Tokai car is sitting in 6th place, but not showing on the web timing and scoring, or indeed our timing and scoring on the screens here. So in GT, it is Andrew Cocotti leading in CRS Racing Ferrari from Jörg Müller in the BMW Schnitzer team car. In 3rd place, Richard Westbrook. So what has happened then to the Jimmy Bruni car, the AF Corsa car, not showing on our timing and scoring screens at the moment?
Yeah, we've got another car actually with some early troubles, John. In fact, the J-Lock Lamborghini started from pit lane. Looks like it was a failed oil seal on that car, but that's now sorted. But the J-Lock car making its way up to the back, so the Porsche's progress not quite as good as the timing and scoring would have actually...
Yeah. And I think we've lost a couple of the GT cars from the computerised timing and scoring that we've got. Nevertheless, what we can say is that Frank Montani, at the moment at least, is clearing off into the distance.
1:22.296 last time around for Montani. He's not a million miles away from qualifying pace, albeit on a drying track. Position time, of course, 1:21.8. Now got the Tokai car now showing on timing and scoring.
Yeah, in 6th as we thought. Tom Christensen is losing touch with the Peugeots, but there is traffic now, and this is again lap GT cars. It's the J-Lock Lamborghini. But I'll say one thing about this circuit, Graham, there's plenty of places to pass.
Oh yeah.
Nice and wide. Many of the corners are bank to the inside so that you can get your nose down the inside and make a sensible passing position. Passing attempt, rather. The two Audis, though, are dropping away. And at the front of the field, Frank Montani, over 5 seconds now ahead of the first of the Audis.
It's about a second lap, isn't it? Oh, and that's, is that the 88? It's the 88 Feldmeier Proton Porsche has had an off-track moment. He's going to recover. It's Christian Reed.
Got a feeling that he's got a puncture. Has he got a left rear puncture? No, he's up to speed again. Just that car looked a little bit squirrely there. Now, can the Audis do anything about the lead? And Jimmy Bruni has gone missing. It was contact with Leib, and that was where the puncture came for Mark Leib. And Bruni has gone missing, and we're not seeing him on the timing and scoring. This was the pole-sitting GT2 car. The AF Corsa of Jimmy Bruni, Tony Vilander and Jamie Mellor. And goodness me, that's like a video game as the leaders, second, third and fourth, stream through the middle of the GT battle. And this is where Tom Christensen knows he's got a slight advantage through traffic. We've seen this before.
We have. That was the Lamborghini, the first racing Lamborghini, and one of the two United Autosports.
That would be Henri Richard, I think, in the second car.
And the Peugeot rather stumbled there, had to take the grass to the outside of the circuit, and Christensen very, very nearly took advantage.
Yeah, it's Henri Richard that started. The Lamborghini is Hiroyuki, and that was very, very tight indeed. And look at this, second, third and fourth absolutely together down the back straight. Minutes into the 6 hours, and changes are plenty as the leaders are among the midfield of the GT battle. Second, third and fourth very close together as Richard Westbrook's Pro Speed Porsche goes a lap down to this battle. And already early drama with Gian-Maria Bruni, the pole-sitting GT2 car, having contact with Mark Leib, a puncture for Leib. And that has put Jimmy Bruni down into third position in class. That means Andrew Kirkcaldy for CRS Racing leads for Ferrari, from Jörg Muller in second for BMW Schnitzer. Richard Westbrook in fourth at the moment for Pro Speed. The KK Performance Audi R8 LMS just dropped back into the clutches of the GT field. And remember, those Audi R8s with 30 kilos after they qualified ahead of the GT field yesterday.
And the 1, 2, 3 GT2 very closely spaced indeed on track, John, as the Peugeots and Audis make their way by. Kirkcaldy actually almost on the rear end of the Labre Saline, and he's got Muller's BMW right behind him, and with Bruni, who I think must have had a timing glitch to go with the contact, is right there. So we've got Ferrari, BMW, Ferrari right together on track with Richard Westbrook trying to reel them in to make it a 1, 2, 3, 4. As the Formula Le Mans car is a bit of a squirrely moment. I think trying to keep out the way of the leaders coming through, managed to keep it all together. The second place Peugeot now making its way by the 8th placed Porsche Hybrid. Still ahead of the Formula Le Mans car. So after just a very few brief minutes, the leading cars already lapped everybody up to 7th place.
And a great start by Frank Montani, aided and abetted by Bourdais in second place. The gap after the first lap was 2.1 seconds, and the Audis just haven't been able to get on terms with the leaders. In the sunshine at Zhuhai, beautiful conditions, bright sunshine, a little bit hazy, but nothing like the mist and the damp conditions that we've had over the first 3 days of the meeting. What I will say though is that the grass around the circuit, and there is plenty of it, very, very wet indeed. And watching some of the Scirocco races earlier in the weekend, you get off onto that grass, you are not coming back.
Absolutely, we saw it just a moment ago, didn't we, the number 88 car struggling to get traction, get back onto track. Just making it. It does seem as if Bourdais is not getting away as quickly now. The gap 3.5 seconds, 3.6 seconds after 7 laps. Montami to Bourdais, with Christensen and Capello right behind. We'll be looking for another opportunity through traffic here.
Christensen trying to get on the power very early, and he's made a slight mistake there, and I think that Dindo Capello may be going for second. Meantime, the battle for the lead in GT is hotting up as well, with Andrew Kokotti with his mirrors full now of Jörg Muller in the BMW, the Schnitzer M3. And they are coming up to be lapped by Johnny Cocker in 5th position in that distinctive Drayson Racing Lola Coupe. I'm sure there's a few people around the Huntingdon area who will be listening and watching. And by the way, at this early juncture, would just like to mention Hugh Hayden, who sadly died very suddenly a couple of weekends ago. It was his funeral last Friday, and the Rebellion team not here this weekend for obvious reasons, but Bart and the boys will carry on, and I'm afraid we've lost a unique character when Hugh passed, and our condolences and sympathies with the team and all the family, and we'll dedicate this broadcast, this live broadcast, to the memory of Hugh Hayden.
Yes, John, absolutely agree, and it's also great to see that Feldmeier Proton, a team that Hugh Hayden actually managed in years gone by, carrying a memorial statement to Hugh on both the cars this weekend. He's going to be sorely missed. And
Dindo Capello has gone by Tom Christensen. We saw the start of the movement, but we're concentrating at the moment on this fabulous battle, and Kokotti makes a mistake in the back chicane, all 4 wheels off the circuit, and this allows Jörg Muller to, just for a moment, get alongside on the right-hand side of the red, white and blue CRS car, but he can't get it done. Now down in the heavy braking area, right at the far side of the circuit before they come onto the back straight, and that was a bit unnecessary this early on in the race.
Yeah, that looked a little bit edgy, didn't it? We're enjoying that flashing lights now from Muller. He thinks he's entitled to the pass here, I think. I think Kokotti thinks otherwise.
Yeah, Andrew Kokotti just made a little mistake going into that far chicane. Just outbraked himself.
On pace through the race, of course, we've got Muller and Werner in the 78 car, as Dindo right with now Bourdais.
Now this is the battle for second place, and the crunch that you heard there, as Graham said that, was Dindo hammering over the curbs on the right-hand side. Now down the back straight, the Peugeot doesn't half punch out of those corners.
Still black smoke from that Christensen Audi. You're right, John, we're not used to seeing quite that amount of black smoke from the cars, but certainly the language, the body language of that Dindo Capello Audi, very much more aggressive as they come by Jacques Nicolet now.
So that means they've lapped everybody up to 6th position, and Christensen for a moment gets back on terms as they go past the GT2 Lamborghini. Now come up on the Feldmeier Porsche.
CH8, I think.
Oh, and look at this! Bourdais pushed Dindo Capello, all 4 wheels, off the circuit for a moment down the start-finish straight, and that was very naughty indeed, but Dindo's done the great cutback on the first corner, and here comes Christensen as well. Will both Audis get through? Christensen looking very racy, dodges to the right, then to the left, but has to drop back in.
Well, that was pretty naughty from Seabass, wasn't it?
The lock up there, you actually heard the wheels locking up there. Seabass, I'm afraid, was a bit naughty.
That was all a bit Schumacher, wasn't it? That was all a bit Schumacher, but Dindo kept it all together, kept his line. It looked like Bourdais compromised his own line into turn 1, and that's enabled the Audi to get by, and we've got a very slow Jaguar on track.
I think that was Mark Goosens that took the start in the Jaguar, if I'm not very much mistaken. Just check that. And it was indeed, but that car looks sick at the moment. So Dindo Capello up into second position.
Let's see whether or not he can make an impact now.
He's pulled away, hasn't he?
He has a little. Sudden Christensen's body language more aggressive as he tries to get on the terms. He's not going to want to let Dindo pull away without his Audi right on the rear end too.
So 3 cars hard at it through the traffic for that second position, and now Dindo gets tied up behind the Hong Kong Racing Aston Martin. Gus just about got through. Christensen doesn't get the best of that one. Now it's the Murcielago. Now I have to say that I wasn't really expecting after that start to see an Audi split the 2 Peugeots, and it looks like Seabass has been told to turn the... Oh, and he very nearly goes into the back of Dindo Capello there again as he's trying to get the run onto the back straight.
Absolutely.
Now let's see who's got the horsepower here as the J-Lock Lamborghini goes off. That's the same place as we saw the problem for the 88 Porsche earlier on. Well, Dindo's managed to survive for another lap. As he crosses the line, he'll stay in second position. But all of a sudden, Seabass, having dropped maybe 5 or 6 cars lengths behind Dindo Capello, seems to have found a new burst of speed. Or at least he's been told to turn up the boost or the engine power just a little bit. So Jörg Bergmeister working the steering wheel of this very clever Porsche GT3 hybrid with the big flywheel sitting next to his right thigh, encased in a very sturdy looking carbon fibre cover. The system, which sadly of course won't be allowed in Formula 1 next year, although Williams Grand Prix Engineering have basically designed and perfected that, but it is only electronic systems that will be allowed back into Formula 1 next year. And Porsche have really picked that up and run with it, and it's almost becoming a sort of plug and play system for them.
It is. I mean, not only is it clever, it's quick. You know, we've seen already that the car, for no reason of the hybrid system, it was unfortunate. It was the rather more traditional motive power unit that failed them at the Nürburgring 24 hours, but led the canter, it seemed, for hour before the engine actually blew on that car. But it's a very clever little car, and surely the shape of the future in GT racing.
Yeah, that may not be the exact technology that we'll see on the road cars, but now this is the Formula Le Mans car. This is Hope Pole Vision. Steve Sakia started this car, and that doesn't look good. That car was dead stick there, nothing at all on the dashboard, as in comes Dindo Capello from second position. First of the leaders in.
Okay. He's coming there after 34 laps complete, John.
Yeah, and he's staying in the car. No tyres been offered as yet. Diesel fuel going in. Seems like it takes an age. Dindo got his visor up, ready to go. Goodness me. Oh, and Tom Christensen all of a sudden has had to hurry up, because he's now right up with Sebastian Bourdais. Now, what's happened there? Because Bourdais dropped back into the clutches of TK.
Tom took half a second out of Bordeaux last time, but it's sort of, where the heck did that come from?
Because he dropped out of the picture, he wasn't even on the same piece of straight.
Unfortunately, we didn't see how that happened, but Tom is there as Frank Montani pits too. Next time around,
that's the leader
laps.
in. That's the leader in. So Capello went in first, the Peugeot went in 1 lap later. The lead Peugeot, here comes Christensen. Christensen in as well. Now that could possibly mean that Bordeaux takes the lead, unless they can turn around Montani quicker. Now we're not seeing Montani in the pit lane, but he is being shown there on the timing and scoring. And for those of you listening live, if you do the RIS-timing.be link, that one seems to be slightly more reliable than the one from the circuit. And Tom just being held. This is a stopwatch. That is interesting. I know he was just timing it. No tyres for either Audi. And what we can't tell you is what has happened to Frank Montani, because we have not seen that stop.
Question, John.
Yes.
Did Tom start the engine while fuel was still being put in the car?
I think he did, and I think he was told to stop it again immediately. And as the officials are probably not listening to us at the moment, I think we dare say that.
Just seeing in the background there, the Zhuhai University, this is the 6th of the LMP1 cars. There must have had some kind of problem, John, because that's down in 13th position. It's not shown as having stopped in the pits. So I just wonder whether that's had a bit of a moment at some point, but it's now running behind the lead 3 GT2 cars down in 13th place.
So the top, or at least 3 out of the top 4 have pitted. And here are the pit stop times. Montani went in the lead, took 48 seconds. Capello went in second, 46. TK, Tom Christensen, went in 4th, 45 seconds. And it seems that our first real dry running, and we're starting to get a little bit of rubber on the circuit, and everyone is picking up their pace. Obviously the cars are getting lighter as well, but it does seem to me as though the cars are looking a lot more composed on the circuit, even the ones that have come out of the pit lane. Meantime, the leader is Sebastien Bourdais, who has not yet pitted. He owes us a pit stop, and he's going long. Past the BMW leading class now, of course. It's the 78 of Jörg Müller.
Actually, that pass on Müller has actually allowed Kikodi to draw a little bit closer to the GT2 leader.
I think Christensen has jumped Capello in that pit stop. We'll see them next time as they come around. Meantime, the GT2 battle is hotting up again as Andrew Kikodi comes from a huge long way back into the first corner. Can he get the little Ferrari stopped? And he can't. And Jörg Müller, there's a touch there as they go into turn 2.
Well, he's done it.
But he's got through. It was the old cutback move there from the BMW driver, but he couldn't hold back Kikodi, who once again drives straight across the curbs in that first chicane. But he came from so far back there.
Unbelievably far back. I mean, it almost looked it was inevitable that Andrew would go off the exit of the corner.
Well, there was 2 things I thought that was going to happen there. One, he was going to go off into the boonies, or 2, the BMW was going to turn into him. But it seemed as though Jörg Müller could see what was happening. He went past his normal braking point and turned in to do, as I say, the classic under move. Came out side by side, but the Ferrari, having been stopped at the apex by Kikodi and somehow kept on the track, got the chance of a replay. He was a good 3 car lengths back. Now he's certainly in position in the middle of the road as he turns in, but I'm expecting to see him spear off at a tangent there.
It was so far back, it's almost as if there was an issue on the way into the corner for the 78 car.
And there was a little touch, left-hand side of the BMW, the right-hand side of the Ferrari, but both cars looking still pristine. Jimmy Bruni, the stalking horse at the moment, in third place.
Not making much of an impact. I believe we've now seen Bourdais pit. We have.
He is in the pit lane as we speak. No tyres being proffered there either.
Hearing from the track that I'm afraid all internet connection there has gone. Which would explain why we've lost time in scoring.
It's all frozen up, yeah.
But, what we do have is a question, and the question is, did Peugeot fool Audi?
In what respect?
By early stopping Montani.
Yes. Well, it's been done before, hasn't it?
Don't you just love this? I mean, this is proper strategy. It's
well,
it's
look
a
at
real
how
team game.
We'll talk about that in a moment, because the GT2 battle is still worth watching, with Jörg Muller following in the wheel tracks of Andrew Kirkcaldy. About a car or a car and a half's length between them at the moment. Actually, there would only be one car's length here in China, because they do like to have their long wheelbase cars. As Christensen is now right at the tailpipes of Montani for second place. So Christensen did jump Dindo by dint of a quicker pit stop. We have seen, though, Peugeot playing the clever tactical game in the past. Remember at Petit Le Mans, when they didn't pit their cars to keep McNish off the lead lap, and how important was that for the end of the race?
Absolutely. We'll see at the end of this lap just exactly where this has actually come out. You know what? I think we're going to see at least 3 and possibly all 4 of these diesels
within sight of each other.
Well, within sight of each other, but probably in a very different order. As Kirkcaldy pits from the lead in GT2.
Now that is
Andrew getting out of the car.
I think that's a bit. Oh no, it's just under the hour.
Phil Quaife in. Englishman.
And a little brake fire on the left front there would possibly indicate there's a little bit of debris underneath. Now we've seen Andrew off the circuit just a time or two on that back chicane. Immaculately prepared red, white and blue CRS car. The fueling is done. Now they can go to work on the tyres. Phil Quaife is installed. It's the usual balletic movements with the ACO rules and regulations on how many people can use guns and tyres, and they are actually throwing the tyres around and throwing the guns around. New set of 4 Michelins are on the CRS car. Fire it up, Phil, and off you go. And he's gone.
Absolutely. Now, as things settle down,
this is where we need Jeremy Shaw and his trusty clipboard.
Montani leads.
Yes, I'd agree.
But timing and scoring is showing Bourdais in second.
Well, I'm not sure that's true.
With Christensen right behind him. I'm not sure that's true either.
I think that's a lap behind. I think when he comes round, I think you'll see Christensen ahead of Bourdais, battling with Montani for the lead. I just can't see that there's 8 seconds between Christensen and Montani at the moment, but I'm prepared to be wrong.
No, Montani leads. Montani leads the race. And it looks like Bourdais about 7 seconds down, with Christensen right behind Bourdais and Capello about 1.5 seconds behind Christensen.
So Christensen the big winner there then, with Audi turning him around quicker than Dindo.
Montagny actually, if anything, slightly stretching his lead.
So the first set of pit stops for the leading prototype cars in the book, and it's Frank Montani that leads from his teammate Sebastian Bourdais. The gap is almost 6 seconds. Well, we're into the second half of this 1,000-kilometre race, which has been all green and all pretty much clean for the 23 cars that started. We've lost a couple very early on, the J-Lock Lamborghini and the RSR Jaguar, I'm afraid, both went out within 10 laps of the start of the race. But what we've had is an intriguing battle throughout the field, particularly in GT2, as we've come to expect, between Porsche and BMW and Ferrari. We've had the Porsche hybrid that we're looking at now turning lap after lap after lap, and now up into a very solid 6th position, having made a fuel stop less than the equivalent GTC cars, I suppose, that you should really be comparing it to, rather than the GT2 cars. But it's way ahead of all of that competition. Now, in fairness, there's a part of that is down to Jörg Bergmeister and Patrick Long, who are by no means rabbits when you get behind the wheel of the car. But look at this, at the moment, chasing down the BMW that is right at the sharp end of the GT2 field.
Revenge for the Nürburgring 24 hours, maybe.
Interesting that although the Audis in GTC got 30 kilos of weight for being ahead of the GT field, the hybrid didn't.
Yeah, funny that.
Am I being slightly too cynical there, perhaps?
No.
But you can't knock it. The showcasing technology, the guys at Porsche Cars North America at Petit Le Mans, where we last saw this car, they had a hybrid workshop at the track on the morning of the race.
Yeah. Well, quick and pretty important part of the race here. We've got Pat Long, I think, just coming to us from pit lane, John, in a moment. But let's talk in a little while about difference in strategies and how little a difference actually it's made.
Patrick Long, your GT3 hybrid car is really amazing. Did you expect to be so competitive among all the different categories in GT?
Well, it's certainly very competitive amongst all the GT cars here. It's been remarkably close, GT3, GT2, GT1. And for us to be running up front overall in all the GT cars is a bit of a surprise, but we knew this track was going to suit us. So far, we've spent a lot less time in the pits, so hopefully we can continue to be efficient, and that'll help us toward the end of the result.
So how many times in a lap does the technology you have on board the car being really helpful?
Yeah, I think you asked how many times we're using the hybrid system and how it helps us. Basically, in all of the hard brake zones, we gain 3 to 4 seconds of boosting when we can use the hybrid system on the exit of the corner. We try to use it as soon as possible to get the mass rolling, really to help get the weight moving. We're quite a bit heavier than the GT2 cars, so we have a little disadvantage in the corner, but once we get it straight, there's a lot of power coming from the Porsche.
Compared to other categories, the A1GP or even the Champ car, when they had push to pass, it was really to overtake. For you, it's really to have more traction when you get out of the corners?
Yeah, the biggest difference compared to the other championships that have used it, even Formula One when they use the KERS system, is we're driving the hybrid system off the front wheels. So we go to active all-wheel drive in those cases, which really helps us change direction and also have more traction. So it's certainly different to drive, a bit more like a rally car in some of the hairpins, especially when the tires are dropping a little bit at the end. But it's a lot of fun, and it's great to be here with Jörg, my normal competitor and teammate in the GT2 Championship of America Le Mans Series. So hope to see you guys all soon.
He's got a big smile on his face when he's talking about that car, Patrick Long, as does Jörg whenever you talk about it. Patrick, of course, a graduate of Team USA scholarship, and the current two guys, Spencer Piggott and Felix Arates, are at Silverstone today in the Walter Hayes Trophy. Good luck to them, and well done to Jeremy Shaw for keeping that programme going for the last years. 1990, I think it was, the first year, and the first person who was chosen by Jeremy Shaw was a little-known driver called Jimmy Vasser.
Never heard of him.
No, never went on to do anything.
Just to point out, while we've been watching Pat, what a great explanation he was giving there, very clear about the advantages that he was drawing from the systems, and watching a very relaxed looking Jörg Bergmeister who's blown by that BMW and has left it for dead.
Yeah, they've been given the all clear to use full power, haven't they?
And has just done the same to one of the Feldmeier Proton Porsches. What we're just going to say before we went to Pat was how this strategy between Peugeot and Audi had actually worked through. And what we've got at the moment is Alan McNish second place. He's just taken second
Has
place.
he really?
He has.
And there's a small cheer from Kelly.
Yeah, it's just taken second place as I speak. Now, what I was about to say was the net result of Peugeot going long and keeping those tyres on, which they said, if you recall in the interview earlier, was hurting them on tyre degradation, against the time it was taking Audi to actually change the tyres, was about 5 seconds. By the time that had actually evened its way out, Alan was about 5 seconds behind Pagenaud. He's now blown by him and is going away. Simon, 127.3 last time around, albeit that whilst I'm sure being compromised whilst being overtaken by McNish, but he's got no answer at the moment to the pace of the Audi, now 37 seconds behind Sarrazin, and that's 3 to 4 seconds closer than they were after the pit stops.
Just one final thing about the Porsche Hybrid. We're on board with Jorg now, just coming up to 3 hours to go, half distance in time, but well over half distance in laps, if you will. The other thing they have an advantage is stability under braking. I remember talking to Johnny Molam, who ran the Corsa Zytec Hybrid, of course, in the American Le Mans series, and he said it took them a little while to get it sorted, but when they did, it was the most stable car he'd ever driven under braking. And because you were using the braking effect to generate the electricity, effectively it was like another form of braking.
Yep.
And it's a very controllable form of braking, and he found you could trail brake right up to the apex of a corner without unsettling the car.
Now, albeit we're looking here at the windscreen of your Bergmeister, not a particularly competitive LMP1 car. That's an LMP1 car.
That's the Top Gun University car.
And this car, this GT3 car with the hybrid bolted onto
look
it,
at how much he's taken out of under
is
braking.
catching it.
It's all under braking, Graham. And he punches out the corner. Unfortunately, where the onboard is here isn't as good as where it was in the. Sorry, Graham's nearly just choked on his coffee there as Johnny Cocker, I think, went. Oh, Paul Drayson just went pinging past.
Sorry, that's a proper MP1 car.
Yes. You can't quite see the battery meter or the power meter, and you could at the Nürburgring. So you can see it charging up and then running down, and charging up and then running down, which is magnificent. Half distance in time, well over that on laps. It's the final round of the Intercontinental Le Mans Cup, the ILMC. Zhuhai is the venue. Graham Goodwin of dailysportscar.com and myself, John Hindorf, watching the action. And the strategy is coming back in this middle part of the race towards at least one of the Audis. And Alan McNish has put the Audi up among the Peugeots and has clawed back that 40 seconds in seemingly no time at all, and is back up into second position. Now, how will Peugeot react to that in the second half of the race?
Left the pits.
We are looking at something quite remarkable here. There was a very, very small part of me that was not relishing not going to bed last night and coming and making the 2-hour drive to come and do this broadcast. And I am absolutely buzzing at the moment with the thought of the end of this race being fought out between Montani and Christensen at the head of the race.
Right, and the other thing to say here is after 151 laps, Audi lead the race for the first time. For the first time. And really, that was easy. It was easy. He didn't resist at all, did he?
Pagenaud had to go offline to go past the Felbermeyer Porsche, but he's got no grip. He can't punch out the corners like they could earlier on. Remember when we were watching those onboards in the early laps? What did I say?
Look at the gap.
He's gone. That gap, is that just rear-tired? It must be just rear-tired grip, because we're watching Frank Montani.
127s from Pagenaud.
124 from Montani. So is this going to be Montani against Christensen at the end of the race, and Dumas could be there as well. Montani is now only 11 seconds
129 from Pagenaud against 124, from 5 seconds difference there. And
well,
Montani is going to blow by Pagenaud here.
Yes, he is. 124.8 from
and that's
Dindo
the final
Capello.
nail in the coffin of that strategy, isn't it?
Well, they can go as long as they want. But if they're losing 5 and 6 seconds a lap, you know, that's a pit stop in 5 laps.
Yeah.
Or even 10 laps. You know, that's 50 seconds. That's how much McNish was behind at the pit stop in 10 laps. This is a remarkable drive from McNish. I don't even think the lack of another fuel stop is now going to be enough to save them.
That's Montagny now pulling up onto the rear end of Pagenaud. Pagenaud must be due to stop in the next lap or two. Oh, it's a bit of a moment, I think, for Phil Quaife there. CRS still in a podium position in GT2, by the way.
Yeah.
Albeit being reeled in now by F Corsa.
The problem for Pagenaud is he can't get out the corners quickly, and he just, you know, normally when we see Peugeot drivers and you see the onboard and they're driving along, and in the middle of a quick corner somebody gets in their way, so they just change their line.
Yeah.
As if the laws of physics didn't apply.
You're going to see the change here between the two Peugeots. This is Montagny looking for a way by Pagenaud.
But listen, even he's short-shifted.
Yeah, and the body language says he's impatient to do it. Oh, there's a big wiggle there from Pagenaud.
Pagenaud's got no rear grip. None at all.
Got to let him go there. And away he goes.
That sounds awful when I do it. So McNish was 11 seconds ahead of Montagny.
That would have cost Montagny a second or so.
He's pulled out to 15, 16 and a half seconds ahead before Montagny's got past his teammate. Now, if Peugeot have any chance at all here, Montagny has got to start putting some quick laps in and putting pressure on McNish before McNish hands back to Christensen. So, new classification then in the last few moments on lap 154. Alan McNish leads for the number 7 Audi Sport Team Yost team. From in second place, Team Peugeot Total, with Frank Montagny chasing him. In third, for the moment at least, Simon Pagenaud. But even with his 40-odd seconds advantage over Dindo Capello, Dindo is lapping 5 and 6 seconds a lap again.
It's going to be less
quicker.
than that. It's going to be a lot less than that.
So Alan McNish leads and is pulling away from Frank Montagny.
Seconds lead now.
Montagny got tyres last time around, didn't he? So
yes.
He's on the newer rubber, which means he should, in theory, stay in that car and do another stint on them. I'd put new rubber on that Peugeot, I really would, and just send them. In fact, I wonder now if that's what they'll do. If you've got two cars, you want to win the race, give Montagny new rubber and tell him to turn up the wick and push the lead Audi. And if you really still think that other strategy is going to work, tell Bourdais to soft pedal, save fuel and save a stop. You might as well split your strategies. There's no point, I think, in trying to do the same with both cars.
No, I'd agree. Absolutely agree. At the moment, this is not working, is it, Paul?
No, and we haven't seen any pictures of the Peugeot garage for a while, and I think there'll be a bit of head scratching, if truth be told.
First time, John. Oh, there's the bit of a lock up there. Is that Fabien Zhuhai, I think, behind the wheel of the 99 car now? Continues on. Bourdais is off the lead lap.
Is he?
He is indeed.
And what's his times been? See, he's down to a 24. He's down to a 24.4 last time around on the new tyres, albeit with a much heavier fuel load. So it is just the end of the stint, the double stint. Dindo 23.9, McNish 24.7, 24 flat for Frank Montani. You know, first half, 3/4 of the stint, fine.
Amazingly kind of well matched, aren't we, though, if you look at those times.
Well, God, that's why we love sports car racing. That is why we love sports car racing. We're on board at the moment with the Porsche Hybrid, I think.
Looks like it's Pat Long's helmet, isn't it?
Yeah. Affable Californian. Who cut his teeth in Europe. One of the few American drivers who came over and decided to stay and learn his trade. Am I right in saying they haven't got a windscreen wiper on that? It just looks like the arm's there and bent up, and there's not actually a blade on it.
I was just trying to work out why we've got Pat Long in the car but not shown the time scoring. And neither have we shown us having had a
third pit stop yet.
Stop.
Well, timing scoring has not been our friend. Jimmy Bruni is under 2 seconds now to Phil Quaife. In fact, no, he's gone.
No, he's still behind.
He's gone out to 4 seconds, I think.
Yeah, he has.
My apologies, reading that graphic the wrong way around. So fair play to Phil Quaife, holding off Jimmy Bruni.
No, well done, Phil.
13.7 at the head of the field.
They've still got potentially Andrew Kirkconnell to put into that car, of course.
Yes.
Andrew did the opening stint.
Yes.
Andrew to Phil to Pierre to Phil, and one would guess back to Andrew before the end of the race.
This is very, very interesting. The two Peugeots now a lap apart, but they can't afford to trip over each other here. Need to work as a pair. Well,
60 laps complete now, John.
Pat Long is still at the wheel of that car because we haven't had a third stop from that car. Of course, we're being pointed out. They're trying to do the whole race on only 3 stops. York started the car, Pat got in, Pat's still in. He won't get out until somewhere close to 4 hours then. So we're getting close to coming up for that.
What I'm slightly struggling with is we had an interview with Pat Long.
Yes, we did.
Lane.
Yes, we did. So it should be York back in that car, and that definitely looked like Pat's helmet. Unless that's just happened recently and it hasn't updated. Never mind. Been a great season of sports car racing, Graham, hasn't it, this year?
Fabulous.
There was a slightly uncertain feel to it at sort of this time last year, not unlike where we are now, funnily enough, where we were still waiting for calendars and deals and, in some case, rules. And yet, 2010 has proved to be a real landmark season for sports car racing. I thought the American Le Mans Series that we've watched here on Motors TV and listened to on the American Le Mans Series Radio Network on radiolemans.com has been a classic. It's been very exciting at the front of the field. Oh, we've got a Peugeot off in the kitty litter, and it's the 2 car. And that was a very big off coming onto the start-finish straight, and very lucky indeed for Frank Montani to hold on to that and not do any damage. That car was bouncing. It's quite a quick entry onto the start-finish straight here, and that car was bouncing. He'd be lucky not to have done underbody damage there, Graham.
And certainly ruined those new tyres.
Newish tyres, yeah. He didn't brake, mind you. He just kept his foot in, but it's, you know,
like he flew through most of it.
It bounced. It was like skipping a stone across a mill pond, wasn't it? Oh my goodness me. And that was just him. He was going past the Oak Racing car. I'm looking at the back to see diffuser damage. Oh, there was no way. No way he was going to make that. He came in a full 2 cars width closer to the apex than he should have been, and trying to take it at normal racing speed. And of course, when he turned in, terminal understeer.
That was a bad mistake.
That was a very bad mistake, and Olivier Canel in the Peugeot pit has a look of resignation behind his tinted brown sunglasses. And Montani there, I'm afraid, was pushing too hard. And how many times have we said it? We said it a bit earlier on in this broadcast, put them under pressure. It's almost as like these Peugeot drivers are driving with a gun at their head every time that they go out of the pit lane. And that, I'm afraid, was a driver error and a mistake.
Well, if nothing else, that cost him 6 seconds on that lap. So the gap is now well over 20 seconds, 21.4 seconds after 162 laps completed now, John. And we'll have to see whether or not he can actually clean those tyres up at all.
Look at how he's holding the wheel now, Graham. He's really gripping that wheel. I think he's been lucky because
well, you would, wouldn't you? That must have been a kind of very worrying moment.
Very, very lucky not to have damaged the underbody. A 1:27.5 last time around for Montani.
Charlie Lam, you're in a pole position, in first place for the moment. It's been a long way for you to be in this position during the season, but now you're here, and it seems like you're very consistent.
Well, already it is a long way, you are right there. But then we showed a good pace already in Silverstone. We were a little bit unlucky. And here it seems, again, we have a very good rhythm. Both drivers very fast. Fantastic car and fantastic tires. And, well, let's hope we can stay like this until the end.
Is it difficult in a so competitive category as the GT2 to be competitive, by the way?
Well, that was what we were aiming for all the year. Porsche and Ferrari are giving the benchmark in this category, and obviously it's fantastic that we now can race with them, and due to the bad luck they had during this race, we could take the lead, and let's hope we can stay there.
Carl Lamb, Charlie Lamb, as he's known, he has been around endurance racing, motorsport forever, and it's great to have him back. And he's clearly, there's a portrait of him going odd somewhere in somebody's loft because that's the 88 car. The 88 Felbermeyer car. That's been the car that's had problems today. Martin Raggini couldn't start the car because he was feeling a little poorly at the start of the race. He's been, to quote an old phrase, under the doctor. Oh, and there's some Peugeot bodywork out on the circuit. There's been an accident. There has been an accident, and it involves a Peugeot. Now, which one is it? The whole of the rear deck section has gone, but it hasn't lost its rear wing. That is very... Look, it's the one car. It's the one car. And there's been a big spin at the first chicane.
I thought when they were talking to Charlie Lamb, we heard a squeal of tyres.
Which is right behind the pit lane.
It looks like there's been an impact.
There has been an impact, and I can see some Peugeot bodywork there as well.
That looks like that front right wheel, John, is not pointing in the direction it should be.
In comes the one car. End of their hopes for victory here, surely, for Sebastian Bourne. He must have been close to coming in anyway, but what damage has been done? This is the second place car. They'd closed down to 16 seconds on Christensen. And let's have a look. It's another mistake by a Peugeot driver. He tries to go around the outside and bangs into... Oh, he's unlucky. Now, did he hit him, or did he just frighten him into the spin?
That's exactly the same place that McNish moment, actually, trying to get around a GT car.
Oh, now Bourdais went the long way around and then got hit by the spinning car. The question is, was there already contact beforehand?
No, is this going to be a safety car, John?
Oh, all bets are off. It's a safety car, you know.
I think it could be.
That might save Peugeot. Well, it depends how quickly they can turn him round. They've got to keep him on the lead lap. They've got to keep that car. No, he's in the box. He's in the box. The one's in the box. That's out of it. So now, how many laps a safety car gets Stefan Sarrazin to the end of the race? Bourdais has made a mistake. Montani has made a mistake.
Bear in mind, we've not yet had a safety car called.
No. There are few enough cars out there that you might be able to get someone to go and pick up the big bit of debris. The main body work panel is not on the track. It is off the track and on the green.
But that car, it's the rear wing.
They've got the quick fit rear wing though. On it goes. That one's been used this weekend, you can tell, because there's a little bit of diesel residue on the RIS of Gran Turismo 5. This is drama
as well.
Yeah. Well, if they've got any sense, they'll do everything. They'll change tyres. They can have as many people working on that car as they want. Only your photographers there.
Sorry, I was looking down there. Almost certainly.
New front end as well.
Will they be ejected from the garage again?
No, we've got a photographer in there, I think. Well, this is drama. Well, what this means now is that Tom Christensen, by no means can he afford to lift off here, but his gap, which was down to 16 seconds, has just gone up considerably.
32 seconds.
32, exactly, it's doubled. And this also means that Dindo Capello, of course, is going to get back up into third.
He'll be easily third.
He'll be third now, in fact. This is a tremendous bit of work by the Peugeot mechanics.
We're going to get a safety car here, John.
No, I think they would have called it by now. They would have called it by now.
That implies there is a safety car, but there's nothing on the time of the scoring.
No.
On track.
No safety car called as yet. It's too early to stop, to make your final stop. Because if the safety car doesn't come out, we know that Audi can't go this far. They're about 10 laps short. Oh my goodness me. Drama upon drama. Offline, by the way. It looks like somebody's gone out there and emptied a bucket of marbles. Out comes the Peugeot number one. That is tremendous work.
It's going to cost them 2, possibly 3 laps.
Tremendous work. But 190. I still don't think that car can go to the end.
I think it can.
43 laps?
Yeah, I think it can. Did they fuel it?
Yeah. First thing they did. Oh no, they didn't.
No, we didn't see it. We didn't see it. Actually, we didn't see it. We saw it pit and we...
I tell you what might bring the safety car out is Ragginger's car still in the gravel. Safety car is out! Oh my goodness, the safety car is out!
Right.
So, Audi have got to get in right now. Who's behind it? Oh, he's picked up the leader.
No, they can't. They can't come in right now. They've got to go further.
They needed to get in before the safety car, didn't they?
They did. Whereas it's possible the Peugeot can do it.
Depends how much we get safety car. Oh my goodness me. Well, we're on lap 191. 192 in fact.
Really tight.
This is roll the dice time here.
Well, we've got no
first and only safety car so far.
Very slow safety car.
It is a very slow safety car. It's too slow. And they're picking their, in fairness, they're picking their way through the debris. The first safety car, and it hasn't helped Audi at all. And it's caused by the incident between Martin Ragginger and the Peugeot of Sebastian Bourdais. And Bourdais' car is in and out of the pits.
I think Peugeot could do it from here.
Well, if they can, that might be the race right here.
Oh, I think there was a Peugeot pitting.
So we're under safety car. Well, actually, is it car or cars? Because we have seen 2 cars.
Well, no, that's
applied.
That's the TT, isn't it? I've just seen an R8.
Well, we've seen 2 cars applied before at Silverstone, and the safety car lights are off. The safety car lights are off, so this is going to be a very, very quick safety car period. And the problem is, if you get caught in the pits between the two safety cars, and the TT is pulling off, I think. He's going to pull off halfway around the circuit. We've seen this before, Graham.
Just to be clear, it wasn't a Peugeot pitting.
Right. We've seen this before, and this might not be the disaster for Audi that it could have been. The problem is when you run two safety cars, one comes off at the start-finish line, one comes off halfway around the track, and at the moment it would appear that the one that our leader, Tom Christensen, is behind has its lights off and may be coming in anytime soon. Simon Pagenaud coming up. Let's get down to the pit lane and see if we can have a word with Simon Pagenaud.
Simon Pagenaud, Sébastien must have been very surprised with what happened to him. Did he explain anything else?
No, I mean, it's a very difficult race. You know, it's a lot of hairpins, and it's difficult with traffic. It's such a tiny track. So, you know, obviously Sebastian was unlucky with the GT car. It is what it is. It's racing at the end of the day, and he was catching the Audi, and I think we had the pace, but obviously now it's going to be a little bit more difficult. But you know, it is what it is.
Simon, there is also lots of strategy, there is lots of calculation for the engineers. It looks like it's difficult to know what's going to happen until the last stint.
Yes, absolutely. You know, you could do you could double stint the tires, or you could do single stint. Obviously, there's a lot of degradation on the rear tires, which is a little bit unexpected because we didn't have much dry running, so we didn't expect to have that much of a degradation. So that plays a little bit in the situation, but. You know, we're still, the number 2 car is still in the race, so hopefully we bring a victory to Peugeot.
Simon Pagenaud down in the pit lane. We're racing again. As I thought, the TT has pulled off, and Christensen is away like a scalded cat, and at the moment he's only got the Hope Pole Vision Formula Le Mans car ahead of him as he passes the scene of the accident, the chicane behind the pits, and he's got to get his foot down because his lead that was something like 20 odd seconds is now down to 8 seconds last time across the line with Stefan Sarrazin.
Peugeot bearing down him already, John.
I'm still not sure that number 2 car can go the distance, but of course it will have to make a much shorter stop now.
Yes.
Than it would have had to.
It last pitted on lap at the end of lap 182, which means it would have to do what? That's a 51 lap stint.
Yeah. Now, which
bear
car
in mind
gets,
we've had 2 laps beyond the safety car.
Which car gets its tyres up to temp quicker, Audi or Peugeot? Oh, I bet it's the Peugeot. That safety car was driven very, very slowly, ridiculously slowly. 13 seconds it was at the line, and then another 10-11 seconds back to Dindo Capello. I think that the closest Peugeot is the one the laps down, but we'll check that out for you as they come across the line this time around. With the Pescarolo Judd of Frederic de Rocha. And into the pit lane is Tom Christensen. The leader is in the pit lane for his final stop. And I'll tell you what, there's no tyres. Oh no, there are tyres.
No.
But they didn't give him them. They've sent him without tyres. I think that's a massive gamble. A massive gamble for that car. He's lost the lead. And that was a timed fuel stop.
Yeah.
Did you notice that? Not a full tank.
As the Peugeot goes by, that'll be the.
Oh, and off has gone the Drayson
Racing
racing car. Now, can he get back on the track?
Must have just come out of the pits, because I looked just a moment or two ago and it was still shown in the pit lane. Yes, it's on its outlap. Bold race that's gone off on the outlap, I'm afraid.
Wow. So Christensen has really rolled the dice. What was that car going slowly?
That was the Drayson car.
That was the Drayson car getting out of the way. It was a coupe, you're absolutely right.
So I think just behind Tom on track, although obviously laps down, is the 1 car.
He can't let that car past.
No.
He must have a clear run. He can't have to fight himself through past the lap Peugeot. That would be disastrous for him. So as he comes round this time, we'll get a clearer picture. I still think that the 2-car has to have a splash. I really do.
I'm certain the 2-car has to have a splash. I can't see any way that car can do 53 laps.
Even with the little bit of safety car that we had. Yeah.
Laps.
Well, it was barely that.
Yeah.
It was pick up the leader,
Yeah.
and then the lights went off straight away. It was only to pull that piece of debris away from harm's way. Right, so Stefan Sarazan now leads with 24 laps to go. He's ahead of Tom Christensen in second place. It's getting dark. AF Corsa in third position now with Andrew Kirkcaldy in the GT. We've got 14 laps to go at Zhuhai of the 233 of the 1,000 kilometres. And at the end of this lap, we expect to see the leader, Stefan Sarazan, in the number 2 908 Peugeot, as he's winding the brake bias button. And there is the confirmation, the number 2 board shining out in the pit lane. It's very dark now as the sun has gone down behind the mountainside at the end of the front straight. 38.1 seconds. Is that enough to get in and out without Tom Christensen going through? We could have a dirty dozen laps for this final victory of the sports car season. Gotta say, Sarazan looks well within himself at the moment. The car's not moving around as much as it was earlier on when the tyres started to wear. He'll peel off. No, he's gone through. He's gone through. It won't be this lap. Now, how tight is he going to be? We didn't think he could do 53 laps.
That would probably be a slower lap that time around, John, was it?
Well, he was caught in some traffic, Sarazan, the leader. 1:23.8 was the lap before. We'll see when he updates here. 1:26.1.
Yeah. And 2 or 3 cars to pass, and they weren't making it particularly easy for him.
And that could be so important, the in-lap and the out-lap, as we wait for Christensen to come through and see the new gap. Christensen goes across the line. Was 36 seconds. So it's the best part of a third of a lap, isn't it? And it was 38 seconds rather. It's come down to 36.9 at 24.8. It's not enough for Christensen.
It's not.
He needs to find another second. He needs to get down into the 23s, and he needs to do it right now. On board with Sarazan. Into the pit lane. This is the race right here. 12 laps to go as he crosses the line this time. There will be a dozen more circuits. For God's sake, don't miss the pit lane speed limiter. And now we wait to see Christensen, if he'll come through, and how long they'll be standing. There's a green light on the pit board as he comes in and hits his marks. On goes the fuel hose. The fueler is watching with the diesel hose. Oh, there's some damage on the front of that car. The louvres look like they may have a little damage on the left front. Start and go. It's fired, and I think he's out of it. He's held it. I think he may have held it.
Roughly 32 seconds in the pit lane and stationary.
And there's Christensen. There's Christensen.
And he's behind the other Peugeot.
I think he's behind indeed.
He's behind the
Sebastian
number 1
Porte.
car.
Yes, he is. And there's a bit of team tactics here again.
Because that Peugeot was way ahead.
That Peugeot has slowed back. He's got to let him by here. He's done a very slow couple of laps.
27 the last time around.
Yeah, but he's been backing up towards him, hasn't he? Sebastian Bourdais. That's another piece of team tactics by Peugeot. And this is winning the race for Peugeot, but it's not Sebastian It's not Sebastian Bourdais that's going to win it, but he's winning the race for Stefan Sarrazin. Oh, this must be so frustrating for Christensen. He can see the leader ahead of him. And there's a crinkling of the nose from Graham Goodwin alongside me.
Yeah.
It's a team sport, mate.
Oh, no, absolutely. No, it's just disappointing. You'd like to see it go head-to-head, wouldn't you? And it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Well, that's why Christensen's times have been backed
25,
up.
yeah.
He's done a 25. He's been stuck behind the Peugeot for 2 or 3 laps. That's what's happened. And we haven't been seeing that because we were waiting for the leader to come in. Where's the blue flags?
There'll be no blue flag protection here.
Yeah, it's not like 3 blue flags and you're out. And Christensen doesn't get the best of the traffic either with the Aston Martin, which is in 3rd in GTC at the moment, also causing him some strife. And I've got to tell you that the lead Peugeot is not pulling away, and this must be massively frustrating for Audi and for Tom Christensen. Can't believe this. So 11 laps to go.
Right, where are we
Take a
then?
breath.
Where are we then? Let's have a quick look as we settle down. Very end of the race. 220 laps completed. 11 laps remaining. Oh, hang on. No, we're slightly out of kilter here.
Yes, we are. We're a little bit behind.
Right, okay.
And Christensen cannot get past that Peugeot that is holding him away from the leader. How annoying. He's only 2 seconds away from the lead and he can't do anything about it. Tom Christensen is looking at the back of 2 Peugeots. He really only wants to be looking at the back of 1. The car ahead of him is out of the running. It is 3 laps down, coming on for 4 laps down. And effectively, that has given Peugeot the victory because Christensen was slowed back for 3 or 4 laps before they came in.
It's a dangerous thing to say with 10 laps to go, John.
Well, Christensen,
how many times have we
Christensen
seen?
will have a go. He's got to have a go.
Absolutely.
And he's there now on the back straight, but the Peugeot just has that. This is exactly what we saw in the first, in the second stint rather, after the first 30 odd laps, that the Audi was as quick as the Peugeot everywhere except coming out the corners. Just didn't have the grip. Dindo Capello did a cracking job of holding up the Peugeot, but this Peugeot now of Sebastian Bourdais, who is not in the running, is holding up the Audi. I say this is great team tactics. Some people will not be happy with this, including, I'm sure, the guys at Audi. Onto the start-finish line.
Quick question.
This has been about 6 or 7 laps now.
What is the gap from the leader to Dindo Capello?
That's a good question. But Capello is going to be Romain Dumas is actually.
Sorry, Capello.
He's going to be hoving into view behind Christensen fairly shortly.
I think not, actually. I think he's a wee way back. The question was whether or not the other...
Oh, they're dropping back the other way.
The game can be played in the other direction, but I don't think it's quite doable. I think there's too much of a gap. There you go, it's 53-second gap. He'd have to drop nearly 30 seconds, wouldn't he?
Oh, he's just gone off the track.
Well, I suppose
he's got into the pit lane.
Run down the pit lane.
Yeah, for a splash of fuel.
Yeah. Oh, no, they're not ready for him.
Yeah, we'll have to drive straight through.
Dear me.
You're a devious man, Goodwin. You're a devious man. Christensen has got close, but hasn't been able to do anything. And I've got to say that this has taken all the pressure off Sarrazin. 9 laps to go. And it is, as I say, it must be hugely frustrating for Christensen as he is being prevented from getting to the leader. He's still only 2 seconds away because, of course, the leader's not pushing. And until Christensen gets through, he doesn't have to. And at the moment, Christensen can't mount a challenge. Oh, what a shame we haven't seen the battle at the front of the field. That Peugeot coming out on slightly cold tyres. Christensen hoving down on him, or maybe ahead. He may have been ahead, and then, you know, have to have Sarrazin chase him down. I've got mixed feelings. I've got mixed feelings about this. It's a team sport, and we've seen Peugeot play the team tactics very, very well this year, including at Petit Le Mans.
But hey, 225 laps down or something like that, and the lead gap is 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's varying between what. Blue flags are being waved at the number 1 Peugeot, but he's not going to just let him by. On board with the leader, who is looking very unflustered. It's very dark out there. Around about 20 miles of racing still to go. And it looks to me as though the CRS challenge may have come to an end, because the number 90 car has not reappeared from the pits. Now, what does that do? Porsche now second, and... No,
just second.
Just
I
second.
don't think the 88 car qualifies for points.
It does. It's entered. It's got an asterisk next to it.
Yes, it does.
Second and fifth. Ooh, what does that mean for Porsche? Have they just snatched back the victory? I think third and fifth would have done it for them. I might be wrong. Andrew will probably tell us. Oh, come on. Just give us 5 laps of a battle. Just 5. Let him go through. Christensen hasn't been able to get on terms in point of fact. It's not as if he's got alongside. So it's not as if that Peugeot has blocked him. He just hasn't got there. Christensen at the moment with a solid second place. Does he just stick it up the inside of Stefan Sarrazin and say to what's it with it, I've got to get through, otherwise I've got no chance of the victory?
Well, his options are sit there or have a real go, aren't they? Because he's clearly, what he's trying to do at the moment is not working.
No, he hasn't really been able to mount a strong enough challenge.
Is that
to even...
the GT2 lead down?
It may have been. He still owes us a stop, I think. Yes, he's only had 4 stops to everybody else's 6. But he has got a couple of laps in hand to the Felbermeyer Porsche. So that shouldn't be a problem.
6 laps remaining.
Great tactics. Olivier Canel's done it again. Olivier Canel has done it again. Blue flag's been waved consistently. Tom needs to turn his lights off and sneak up on him. Where's that stealth button? There's a big red button in the Audi which nobody seems to know what it's for.
That was interesting, wasn't it? Yes, yeah. It's the high resolution picture released of the R15's cockpit with a great big button. Audi were not too keen to tell us what it did.
Whatever it does, if it's got anything to do with speed, it needs to be pushed now and pushed hard. By the way, just to tell you about the pace, Christensen 25.2, stuck in behind, of course, Bourdais 25.2, Stefan Sarrazin 24.9, 25.1, 24.9. And now we know why Christensen was held up at 27.5, remember, for a couple of laps by that Peugeot to back Christensen up, to give them that extra little bit of leeway. I actually thought they would have had almost enough to get in and out of the pit lane without having to do that, but seems not. Christensen has a look down the inside of turn 1, and he has sneaked through, and that he really caught Sebastian Bourdais napping there, because Bourdais started to turn in and Christensen was already there. 5 laps. Now then, game on, ladies and gentlemen. Can Christensen do anything? Is there any life left in the Michelin tyres, which it was 3.8 seconds at the line?
And he's immediately pulled away.
He has He's immediately pulled away, as Graham Goodwin has just said. And now, I thought it'd only been a couple of 3 laps ago. I said we wanted 6 laps of racing. We've got 5. I actually don't care who wins this race now, but I want to see them side by side for some part of the last 4 laps. Somebody having a go. I feel slightly cheated by not seeing that. I'm not criticising Peugeot at all before anybody says that, because I know everybody thinks that we've got something against Peugeot. It's not true. I think they've run a very, very clever season this year. They've used everything that they've had. Oh, nice job by Christensen to just breathe in the last corner. 4 laps to go. I don't think he's made up anything this time around. I think it's going to be about 4.5, maybe 5 seconds as he goes across the line. It is 4.5 seconds, and immediately the Peugeot is back on his rear wing. But now that he's passed, Bourdais needs to get out the way. He should not be hassling round the back. I've got no problem with him not giving way, but now that is naughty. And if he tries to go past him again, that, I'm afraid, is not on. At this stage of the race, Christensen has worked his way past him. He's got to be allowed to go through, and the leader's caught up behind.
He's caught up behind a GT2 car. He's got by that, but also the Drayson Racing Lola. He's got by that too now, but that will have cost a bit of time. As the CRS car back out on track.
Yeah, but they've lost their position, I'm afraid. So the top 3 in GT are BMW, then Felbermeyer Proton, and in 3rd place will be AF Corsa.
That looks like it's static to the end now, unless anybody has any kind of incident. Let's hope not this late stage.
Now I want to see that Peugeot of Sebastian Bourdais backing away from Christensen here, because he's got no business to be sitting right next to him and trying to make Christensen defend. He's laps down, he's not going to improve, and I completely disagree with this in just as vehemently as I didn't have a problem with them playing the team card earlier on. This is wrong, wrong, and he needs to be told to back off and leave Christensen to run his own race. My opinion only. So 3 laps to go then. Three laps to go. Christensen, his gap went out to 4.4. Can't believe it. Can't believe it. End of the season, and we're going to be down to a handful of seconds, and Christensen's just lost touch a little bit. 1:24.7.
There's the Golf Lamborghini off on the outside. The final turn.
Oh, safety car? Too late. Too late for a safety car now. Well, I don't know what to say, Graham. This has been tremendously entertaining right throughout the race. There's just no way to describe what's going on the circuit. It's been a tour de force by the French team of Peugeot, who have managed to engineer themselves a race
Again, John, they've done it with pace.
They have. I know there will be people who'll criticise what they've done, but I still say it's a team game. Coming round to the last 2.5 miles next time by. And again, short shifting by the leader, who's upped his pace just a little bit, as we thought he might when Christensen got through. 1:24.5 last time around from a 25.0. It's over 5 seconds. The game is up. There's no way back here. They head on to the last lap. The Zhuhai University car is going to finish. It's running, it's out there.
14th position for that car, and that will finish at this stage 5th in LMP1.
What a way to finish the season for Peugeot, who were deconstructed, demoralised, demolished at Le Mans. And they've come back with some big victories since then, and none bigger than winning the full strength Petit Le Mans. No range shortened race this year, and now taking the inaugural ILMC title. Oh, leader's got problems here. He's got a track full of 2 GT cars. The Celine slowing right down, and the hybrid car also there, and that just shows what could have happened if Christensen had been right up the tailpipes of the Peugeot, and that shows why they were right to do what they did and put the blocker in.
Absolutely right, and here, I'll tell you right here and now, given the opportunity, Audi would have done exactly the same, absolutely precisely the same. You're quite right, John, it is a team game.
Doesn't matter whether it's sports car racing, Formula One, if there's more than one car in the team, you've got to make it work for you. And Peugeot, the lion roars at the end of the season as we bring down the 2010 International Sports Car season. The endurance racing calendar wrapped up with a phenomenal piece of tactical racing. Peugeot have won it, but they have not won it at the canter they may have expected. They were pushed all the way by Audi. Ralph Jutland looks dejected on the pit wall. Looks like someone's killed his puppy up there. He's looking down the track, waiting for the rest of the cars to come through. But for a safety car, ironically caused when a Peugeot driver made a mistake and was penalised for it by a drive-through, by a stop-go, that hit Martin Ragginger, brought out the safety car, cancelled out a 28-second lead. And what did we say? If they lose by less than 20 seconds...
That's exactly where they've lost it. And it's, I guess, after a long, hard season for all concerned, what have we got? We've got Peugeot coming home with the inaugural Intercontinental Le Mans Cup title. And of course Audi with that famous 1-2-3 when we had the Peugeot meltdown at Le Mans.
Yeah.
My guess is, given the option, Audi would have taken that.
Oh, yes, but it's been a tough uphill run for Audi this year. Peugeot have had the best cars and the quickest cars for sure. Let's quickly try and give you... I was going to try and give you a rundown there. So it is the number 2 Peugeot of Frank Montani, who qualified and started, and Stefan Sarrazin, who finished the race, that wins from Tom Christensen, who started and finished with a brilliant stint in the middle by Alan McNish. Dindo Capello and Romain Dumas in 3rd place ahead of Bourdais and Simon Pagenaud. Jacques Nicolet, Frédéric de Rocha and Patrick Lafarge in 5th position, just about making that.
That's just changed actually on the final lap, John.
They got back ahead on the final lap and take the Michelin Green X Challenge. A very long lap on the final lap by the Porsche Hybrid, which finishes in 6th position, and by far the best of the GT cars. The GT3 Porsche Hybrid, remember. BMW cranked up another big victory for Charlie Lamb and the boys after the victory at the Nürburgring 24 Hours. Jörg Müller and Dirk Werner have won from Mark Lieb and Richard Leach. What a comeback for them after a first lap incident that saw them in the pits for a puncture. And Jimmy Bruni, the car that was involved in that, in 3rd position ahead of Martin Ragginger, who couldn't even start the race, he was so ill, in 4th position for Team Felbermayr-Proton. And I think that might just give Peugeot the title. It's going to be very close, and somebody far more clever than me is going to have to work that out. The Zhuhai University car finished 14th, many laps down, and the Team Hong Kong Racing Aston Martin GTC comes through to 2nd place behind Lee Markey, Alex Young and Matthew Marsh in the KK Performance Audi R8 after problems beset the 96 United Autosports car, the Richard Means, Frank Yu and Danny Watts car, and in fact their teammates have even picked them into 3rd place in that category. How do you sum that up?
That was a great race. That was a great race, and you know, I said a little earlier, John. Particularly good that we actually saw a great race for the overall win and for the championship when it came right down to it. And you know, the sportsman in me actually likes to see honours shared, and honours this year very much have been shared. The Audi R15 had a very difficult genesis. Audi having to put an awful lot of effort into what is a fundamentally different car from that which we saw 2 years ago, and I think we're about to hear from Stefan Sarrazin, are we?
Stefan Sarrazin, congratulations. Another win for Peugeot. You have won the ILMC, but it was not an easy race.
Yeah, it was just amazing race, you know. The last one may be the hardest one. We won with 5 seconds, so we had a big brakes problem in this very slow track. The car was very fast, just easy to go very fast, so we are very, very happy, and it's a very good end of the story of 908.
You have a very good year. You've won the Le Mans series. You have achieved a fantastic year, Stefan, and it's important for Peugeot to win the ILMC.
Yeah, sure. It was very important to win the championship, and especially this race in China, because it's a big market, and we want to show Peugeot it's a very strong car, very good car. So it was very important to win, and a very good season.
Magic stuff. Got to say, I think, Graham, you're right. They would trade it all for a win at Le Mans this year.
They would, but you know what we're seeing today, these moments, the moment. This is the retirement of a fabulous race car, the Peugeot 908.
Two retirements of two very good race cars.
We don't yet know about the R15. We don't finally yet know about the R15. They've not finally counted that out. Likely that'll be the end of it, but definitely the last race of the Peugeot 908 after a fantastic career. Only one Le Mans win, of course, but title wins galore, and coming away from 2010 with 2 title wins.
So there is the final overall classification, just 4.8 seconds at the end, rather a manufactured victory, but they all count. There's no asterisk next to it. Audi must be bemoaning their bad luck at getting a safety car when they really didn't need it. And remember, both Peugeot cars making mistakes. One that saw a stop-and-go penalty, and one that saw Frank Montani way out over the grass at the final turn. Either of those could have cost them the race, if not the title. Oak Racing have won the Michelin Green X Challenge, and well done to Charlie Lamb and Schnitzer BMW for the GT victory. And what about the hybrid as well, coming home sixth, excuse me, overall for Porsche. That is proving technology for the future, surely. JLOC, the Japanese Lamborghini Owners Club, and Jaguar only getting 10 points, and that is the confirmation. It was by 7 points Ferrari that took the manufacturer's classification in the GT. What a fantastic team effort that's been by Peugeot to pip Audi by 17 points. What a great season of sports car racing you've seen here on Motors TV with John Hindhaugh and Graham Goodwin here. P2 there, Oak Racing winning from the Racing Box, or MIK Corsa as they became known, not coming here this weekend, and Labra Competition rather having it all their own way in GT1.